Safety-driven defense. Last year came something of a punchline. This year, Zach, it is a punch out. I don't know. It's actually doing the job that Ohio State wanted it to do. That's Zach Boren. I'm Austin Ward. And yes, BuckIQ is about the Ohio State safeties who are living up to all that acclaim that we heard a year ago.
The boys are playing well. That is for sure. You have Lathan, Ransom as Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year against Notre Dame. Next game out, you have Josh Proctor as Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week again. The boys are flying around the football, making plays, doing what we have always imagined these guys would do.
Yeah, and the journey to do that, not the same for all of these three guys that we're going to talk about on BuckIQ tonight, but you did mention Lathan, Ransom, and Josh Proctor will start there. Their journey a little bit more arduous and lengthy than Sonny Styles, so there's not one path out there. But certainly I think you look at those first two, these veterans, Zach, like they've had to battle through injuries. You know, Josh Proctor could have easily packed it in and not gone through year number 6 at Ohio State. I think after everything they've gone through, I think that almost makes it a lot more gratifying to watch, and I'm sure a lot more satisfying for them in it, the sense of satisfaction that they've earned it and that Ohio State really needs it. I mean, it's all cool to watch and transpire. I'm sure their teammates feel the same way.
Yeah, those guys have been through a lot. You know, both of them having broken legs, both of them battling tough off seasons. You know, Josh Proctor being at Ohio State probably a lot longer than he envisioned, than his family envisioned. You know, the great thing, though, about this defense is, and it's kind of come full circle because this Ohio State defense needs these two guys. You know, we've seen in big games last year, you know, and so far this year, Lathan Ransom has answered the call. When some big plays need to be made, he made them. Now you have Josh Proctor, who, in my opinion, is that guy that kind of brings the swagger. You need a guy in the defense who, to put it kind of lightly, loses his mind from time to time, right? You just need that guy, right? You need that whack job that is just going to go out there and play with swagger, you know, be a trash talker, set the tone for the defense. And nothing against the linebackers that we have, but they're quiet assassins, right? They're not going to be the guys to get people amped up and be a talker and get in the offensive players' faces. But you need some guys to do that. It just kind of sets the tone. It lets the offense know we're here all day long and we're coming right at you. And that's what you saw from Josh Proctor on Saturday. And he needs to continue to play well because when he's playing well, this defense is playing well.
So you've got Josh Proctor with that chippiness and that really dynamic, hard-hitting, ball-hawking athleticism. Makes that big interception. Lathan Ransom, I don't know, not quite as much of a talker, although certainly respected in the Ohio State locker room. And then the third guy, probably not going to get a lot of words out of Sonny Styles ever, just going out there and letting his play speak for itself.
Most definitely. You know, Sonny Styles might be the most gifted of those three. And we're talking about three guys that are about as highly recruited as they come. And Sonny Styles, what he's able to bring in this defense from not only being able to match up with tight ends, wide receivers, slot receivers, but what he's able to do with playing inside the box, coming down and supporting in the run game. You saw on Saturday, be involved in different blitz packages. Sonny just brings such a versatile look to this defense that they're going to have to continue to find ways to get him on the field, to give the offenses different looks, because he is the one guy that's kind of the joker of this defense, so to speak.
Yeah, it's interesting, Zach, because like Lathan for the first half of last year was really playing at a high level. We spent a lot of the offseason. I mean, Josh Proctor got benched after one drive, one play really against Notre Dame last year. Sonny Styles was filling in as a sort of an extra linebacker. But as the season went on, it was like we talked so much about the safety-driven defense, and then the play kind of declined as they went down. So the work is not done here for Ohio State, I guess is my point. They've played 5 games. They go Saturday to Purdue at noon. You know, you still have to keep earning it. Penn State is the week after next. But like, the first half of the season is probably better than anything we saw through all of last year, but it also won't mean anything if they don't continue to sustain that.
No, for sure. And you look at what they've done so far this year, truly from a test standpoint, yeah, they got tested against Maryland, but their one true test was Notre Dame on the road, right? And so you got to continue to stack games on top of one another, stack confidence as a complete unit, because not only are you going to a place this weekend where you probably know better than I do, but they probably had the worst losing record of any away Big Ten stadiums. It's probably 1,000, right? If you think about that, that's wild. So they're going to a place that have not had much success. And then the week after that, I mean, that's the big boy ball. When Penn State comes here, I mean, it's showtime, right? And so you have to be able to play with confidence then. You have to make sure that as a unit, you're playing cohesively, you're on the same page, you're able to put out a big product, because let's be honest, last year, the two biggest games of the season, Michigan and Georgia, defense was hard to find, right? And especially those guys on the back end were some of the guys are to blame. And so what can those guys do to continue building confidence, continue stacking games on top of one another? And I'm going to say this because I saw it in person on Saturday, and I continue saying it all year long. They got to have someone on this defense that is the shit talker, that is the guy that's like, hey, let's go. We're setting the tone, because they haven't had that in a while. Think about the defense. They may have had some corners who can talk, but you can't do it with a corner. You need someone in the middle of that defense, right? When's the last time they had a big-time talker at safety, at linebacker, who's like, hey, we're bringing this, we're getting after it. It just sets the tone for the defense. And I know some people that are watching this are probably like, that's so kind of bush league. You don't need a trash talker. Look at football. Look around. That's what so many teams build confidence off of someone who's able to carry that personality. Guys just kind of cling to it. Look at Colorado this year, right? You have Deion Sanders, who's one of the biggest trash talkers in the entire world, and you're taking a team who is hot garbage, and they've been somewhat successful because of this confidence that they're able to get just from taking on someone's personality. So you need someone on defense who's able to get that confidence going for the entire team. And, I know this is defense, but you look at the offense side of the ball, that's kind of what they need on offense right now too, right? They need someone to get in the O-line's butt. They need someone to kind of, when things are going slow, hey, let's freaking giddy up. We need to get going. And so I'm excited to see Josh Proctor do that on Saturday, or this past Saturday. Excited to see him continue to build on kind of that leadership role moving forward.
Yep. If Ohio State gets some plays like this from the safeties in every single game, I'd like their chances of continuing to run the table. Let's look at how they did it in the win with a play from each of those three safeties on Saturday against Maryland. Let's roll the tape. All right, Zach, let's start here with the biggest of them all. That score was not what either one of us were expecting, at least at that point into the first half, second quarter. Offense struggling to get going, but you can get points on the board a different way.
No doubt. This team needed this very badly in this situation. But you look at the sticks, right? This is what I love about this play. So many times Josh Proctor in the past has gotten beat just because he's not playing smart, right? He makes some dumb decisions. Here, listen, it's 3rd and 5. He knows, guess what? I got my 4 dogs up front trying to get after this quarterback. I'm not going to keep on gaining depth. I know where the sticks are. I'm going to sit right on the sticks, knowing that they're going to try and hit something right in that 5-yard range. Right here, he reads little Tua's eyes the entire time, breaks on this football, and man, did this defense need this at this point.
And I joked with him afterwards. I thought his parents were there for this game celebrating this. Like, Josh Proctor has put himself in a position a lot of times to make big plays and not been able to make the catch, make the interception. If he was saving all up for this one, so be it. Like, this is the one Ohio State needed more than any of them.
This was a huge one. And that play, and I don't want to make it bigger than what it is. That play might springboard this team into this run that they're about to go on. I mean, and I don't say that lightly, because you have a guy who makes this play at this point in the game, and the entire game shifted after this. And you might see this team stack some games on top of one another, and this defense play completely differently and have some swagger. If Josh Proctor keeps on playing the way he is in this play, we might go back at the end of the year and go back to this and be like, man, this was a turning moment in the season.
Yeah, pretty big. And then Lathan Ransom, he doesn't score, but this wound up being pretty significant as well. It was tied at 17 here in the third quarter. A three-man pressure, not something that we see a ton from Ohio State, Zach, but certainly worked out pretty well here.
We saw this a couple times on Saturday, and I think it's just from the standpoint of they got in some third and long situations, knew, quarterback could beat them with their legs. So, hey, we're going to rush three. We're going to get after it. What I also love that they did in this situation is, hey, JTT can get after the quarterback. We know that. Let's get him with someone who's athletic, quick, can get deep into the backfield. And you see Caden Curry right here creating some noise. Look at this. I mean, look where the ball snapped and look where these guys are from a passing standpoint, right? They're 10 yards back into the backfield almost, getting after the quarterback. That's what you love to see. I think there was a little hold on Caden right there, but we won't get into the officiating. But still, making the quarterback use his legs, try and get him to scramble, and making a bad decision right here. Lathan Ransom is in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, Zach. The coverage and rush working together. Some of that mantra from Jim Knowles, aside from safety-driven defense, like this was a three-man pressure. All three of them won matchups. We had said over and over. We talked on Weekend Kickoff, like win, pass rush win percentage, individual opportunities. Like JT was against a double team. Caden was getting held through a double team. Tyleik Williams gets through. And then you could force a quarterback to make a bad decision. And then the safeties have a chance to feast on the other end.
No doubt. And when you have a play like this, the quarterback, basically you're narrowing down the field to half the field, right? He can't throw this all the way back to the right side of the field. So as a defense, you're starting to converge on all the receivers on, over here near the hashes, and you're seeing these guys, right? You look at Josh Proctor, Sonny right there, right? They all kind of know where the ball's going. They had no idea that Lathan was right here. Instead, he plays the quarterback with his eyes again, just like Josh Proctor did in the previous play, and makes a massive interception here to get into Ohio State territory with the football. And to your point, Austin, we talked about the pass rush all year long and the inability to get there. They got home with three guys. 3 beat 5, and you saw all three guys be able to put pressure on the quarterback and get home, and that is a massively great sign.
Yeah, big step forward, I thought, for really everybody in the defense. I know that 17 points is probably not what Ohio State ideally wants, but you're going to win most games with 17 points in college football anymore. But
you want to know something? You give up 17 points, and the very first 7 points you gave up, Maryland was given the ball inside your 30-yard line, and you're expected to go out there in the very first series of the game and stop them. It's just tough.
Yeah, short field, absolutely right. Great point, Zach. All right, and then so to complete the trifecta here for those safeties and that three-headed monster, another third down. Ohio State has 3 down linemen, but a much different look because they're bringing some pressure and they bring it from that safety-driven defense.
Yeah, this is what I love, right, is that we just saw the very last play. Ohio State brought 3 and dropped 8. And it was almost the same exact situation. It was 3rd and 10 previously, 3rd and 9 now, third quarter again. And instead of dropping 8 and sitting here on it, they bring pressure from Lathan and Sonny. You can tell they had no idea this was coming. Coming from distance like this, being able to have a guy like Sonny, a guy like Lathan that's able to trigger so quickly, play with speed and athleticism. I mean, this is perfect. Now, thank God Sonny made this tackle. Otherwise, Ohio State may have been in a world of hurt. But I just love being able to give different looks, and you see it on these back-to-back plays. Is at the beginning of the sequence, it looked like bring 3, drop 8. That defense did not look any different from the last 2 plays. Instead, Sonny and Lathan trigger on the snap, are able to get there and make a big play when it's needed.
I know you love those blitzes, Zach. I mean, that's what you play for, right? That's the excitement. Nobody wants to sit back and drop 8 on every single snap. These safeties live for that. Sonny Styles, it's something, I guess it's the next element here. Jim Knowles said on Tuesday, maybe 80% of the playbook in for a guy like that. There's still more that they can do. We had not seen a ton of these double safety blitzes. So just when you think that maybe Jim Knowles is going to adjust and sit back and like bend, don't break, you see something like this that tells you, hey, there's still a little bit more left in the arsenal.
Agreed. And let's be honest, these guys have saved some stuff. Especially Maryland knowing like, hey, We had to give them some different looks with good quarterback play. You got to think they're saving some stuff for Penn State and then ultimately saving some stuff for the end of the year. But, the big thing is this defense is running around right now, making big plays when they need to be made. They're tackling really well. Let's knock on wood with that. But the things that we've seen some issues with in the past, from not tackling well, giving up big plays, not being on the same page, not playing as a cohesive unit, they're doing all those things this year. And those are the biggest things. Now, guess what? Now they need to play with some confidence. Instead of the offense setting the tone that we've seen for so many years now, this defense needs to set the tone for the team. It's just, it is what it is. After this past Saturday, I think all of Buckeye Nation, all of us can agree that this team will feed off of the defense's play, and they're just going to have to live up to that.
Next challenge for them Saturday at Purdue. We will, of course, break that down with Zach Boren on the Sunday Blitz, and we'll see who the stars are for the Silver Bullets next week as Ohio State gets one more. We'll call it a tune-up. It's Purdue. You did mention that sometimes it gets weird at West Lafayette, but assuming that there's a more normal situation, we'll be talking about the big one, Ohio State and Penn State. But before we get to that, it's Saturday. It's Purdue. Zach Boren fired up for that. We appreciate his insight and analysis, as always, on the podcast with BuckIQ. For Zach, I'm Austin. We'll talk to you later.